Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello, everyone. How are you? This is your host, Jania Butler, with the New American Perspective here on Millennium News 24. We got a great show with you this week. First of all, thank you for joining me. It's great to see you. Thank you for being a part of this wonderful show that is made up of so many great people around the world. We are the New Americans with the New American Perspective, and let's get right to action. So, we all know that Puff Daddy is clogging up the airways. I don't know which is better, Trump or Puff Daddy and Trump. But we know Puff Daddy is on trial right now for his RICO and racketeering charges. It is hot downtown Manhattan right now. Everybody's out there. The press is out there, and they are talking. Today is day 8. And, the prosecution is bringing their case together, bringing their charges up against Puff Daddy. The defense, and Puffy is part of the defense team. I'm hearing that Puffy is sitting there writing down his notes, whispering to his defense. He's not going without a fight. But those of us who know Puff Daddy know that he is not going without a fight. We know that, don't we? Okay, because Puff has been fighting long time, and this is not going to stop him, and he is looking at life in prison if he is convicted. But let's just talk about some of the stuff that's happened that I think is highly weird, and stuff. So first of all, we know that he has been a sexual deviant. He's a sexual deviant. Okay, I don't know if that constitutes him having a RICO charge, but he is a sexual deviant. We're hearing about how, he had Cassie, his ex-girlfriend, people urinate in her mouth until she choked. We're hearing from sex workers saying that him and Cassie wanted him to engage. We're hearing from ex assistants who are now saying that they witnessed Puffy in a battle with Suge Knight, and Puffy running to go get the weapons and saying that he was going to go to the diner and shoot Suge Knight up. We're hearing all kinds of crazy things that the prosecution is now building this case, building up this monster of a man that a lot of people are saying, nah, this is not the case. Like, Puffy shouldn't be on trial for RICO. He's on a RICO trial, they're saying, by himself. Now, RICO was made up for the mafia. It was made up to, pull everybody racketeering and killing people with the mafia. So far, we haven't had any murders. I believe Cassie's ex-boyfriend, another rapper, Kid Cudi, is going to come on and testify today and say that Cassie was trying to date him, and Puffy blew up one of his cars, and that's horrible. And so they're trying to say that Puffy is this gangster that we didn't know about for so long. Also, I think this is the part that got me. And this is the part that says Puffy might not be the greatest man in the world. But the part that got me was that Puffy's Cassie's mother, okay, testified that she had to pay Puff Daddy $20,000 in an extortion fee. Puffy was trying to extort his Cassie's mother because she was dating Kid Cudi for $20,000, or he was going to release some sex tapes of her doing all these lewd acts. So the mother said, listen, I took out a loan on my house in order to save my child because I thought my child was in danger from this predator that called me and said, I need $20,000 right now, or I'm gonna put your daughter on prime time that she's gonna have these sex tapes. Now that's low down dirty. So again, the prosecution is building this case. It's building up. I'm hearing that his security, Gene Deal, he testified. I didn't hear much about what he testified about, but I did see him going into the courtroom. You see everybody in New York out there. It's an absolute circus. So what do you say? What do you say? How do you feel? Log into the comments and let us know how you feel about this Puffy trial. A lot of people are saying, oh no, Cassie was complicit with what was going on. Now, listen, okay? Domestic violence survivor myself, 17 years. She's 17 years his junior, Cassie. Don't tell me that he was not leading the way and that he did not introduce Cassie to all these things. Now, she may have said yes because she wanted the love of her man. She may have gotten into drugs because of the love of her man. They talked about that they had 8 balls and they had this and they had that. But you can't blame this young lady. Even though that she was making calls, she was doing what she said. We seen her try to get away, and we seen her get beat up running down the hallway. So how can you turn around? And this is what happens with women. This is why women don't come forward. They don't come forward because of situations like this, because then you start to blame the woman. Oh, it was her fault. She wanted it. But yet, this was a young lady who was in love, with the fame, who was in love with the fortune. She left her man, Ryan Leslie. She left her man thinking that this man, the picture that he painted in my mind, he's going to give it to me. And guess what? He said, I'm going to give you this picture painted in your mind, but it's going to come at a price. And I can't lie, she decided to take the price. Now, some women, they decide to, keep it moving and say, it's not for me. But what Cassie did is she bit into it and she went all the way with this. Okay. And, I wonder, the other people that he had relations with, or did they have any situations like this? J-Lo, Kim Porter, rest in peace. Misa Hilton, these people that we know of, his other baby mother, Sarah, I'm not sure of her name, but did they have similar, and they're just not talking again because women don't want to come forward. Women don't want to say that I did these things, because look at how you are taking this right now. So is this a space where a woman wants to tell you that this man made me drink somebody's urine? This man made me take semen and rubbing on his nipples? Is this the kind of place? She just said, listen, I got $20 million, $10 million coming from the Intercontinental for holding on to that video and releasing that video. So she got some money coming to her. So she had to sit there and say, you know what? This right here, I'm going to come out and I'm going to expose this man. But I thought it was very interesting too, that at the end of everything, she said, I have love for the past. The girl still loves him. She said, I have the love for the past and what it was. Although it was a tumultuous, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, relationship, although it was a crazy relationship, she says, I still got love for him. And I'm sure that in the room, Puff knew what she was saying. And she even said that when she got married to her husband called her and she was having sex with Puffy. So she became an addict at these things, right? She became an addict. I'm sure that they helped each other become addicts. But who knew that Puffy was this man that everybody bows down to, sees and rolls out the red carpet? Oh, Puffy is coming. Oh, I want to talk to Puff. That he's having 4-day. He's out for 4 days. The reason why you can't get him on the phone is because he's having freak offs for 4 days. I mean, who knew? Okay, we really got to sit back and we got to think about this, because where are we going? What are we coming to? And why? Like, I can't even understand what where we're at with this. Okay, so Puff Daddy, uh Some people are saying that he's going to get off. What do you think? I think that he's not going to get life. You know, you got R. Kelly in there, got life. You got Bill Cosby. He had 10 years and he beat his case. And one of my friends said, listen, you know how Bill Cosby beat his case? Because he had an NDA. Well, when you're subpoenaed to court, it's a difference between having an NDA and when you're subpoenaed to court and made to testify and tell the truth. So there is a definite difference, and there's a definite similarities in a lot of these cases. You know, I know a lot of people are still saying free R. Kelly. You know, you got what's his name? The not Weinstein. He's locked up. He's in there now saying, listen, I swear I didn't do any of these crimes. What do you think? I mean, we know that this has been going on in the entertainment industry for years. And now, you know, since the Me Too, you know, we've been taking them down one by one. And I remember in the beginning of the Me Too, everybody kind of was like, if we taking people down and we talking Me Too, Mr. Me Too, because, you know, everybody is into this stuff. Okay. And so now what do we do going forward? How do you get a deal going forward? Okay. So you can't have sex doing it. You can't lock somebody up and be your sex slave for it. You know, so we're turning around and we're seeing how that, you know, what comes around goes around. You got Russell Simmons. He's out the country now. He's hiding. He's saying, listen, I'm really not hiding. I'm coming out the country as I want. But he ain't saying here. He's in Bali doing his yoga. He's doing his yoga piece. Okay. So let's not talk about that. Okay. So now, like I said, I spent this first little quarter on the Puffy trial. I want to know how you feel about everything that's going on. They're saying that they had Obama-shaped ecstasy or drugs going on. You know, that they were taking Obama-shaped ecstasy pills and everything like that. So this was a crazy relationship. And I bet at the end of the day, Puffy still loves her, but you cannot love in sex, drugs, and crimes. And Cassie also said she witnessed Puffy with some guns, and you know, one of his ex artists, Dawn Richard. I know she's Haitian, and I think it's Richard, not Richards. But Dawn Richards, she testified that, you know, Diddy said people go missing, and then she testified that she saw Diddy with Kit Cassie and Buster in the face, to the point where the group Dirty Money got together and said, let's all put on the sunglasses. Let's all rock the sunglasses. I was trying to get my sunglasses. Let's all rock the sunglasses and let's all act as though that we don't know that Cassie is being punished by this man. Now, what do you do if you're an onlooker? You know, you're supposed to tell. If you see something, say something, okay? And I mean, this is happening all over the world. It's not just with Cassie. And I'm sure that there's a lot of other women in the entertainment industry that have gone through similar things that just don't feel like they're watching this Cassie case. Like, I don't want to be sitting on court and the sex workers and everybody coming in and talking about this, that, and the third. And, you know, I don't think it's hard to speak up. I have been a victim of domestic violence in the past, and I didn't tell anybody. You know, it had to be found out when I got hit and somebody seen it. You know, so it wasn't the easiest thing. It's still not the easiest thing today to tell, you know, how people have tried lewd acts, and you know, it's not the easiest thing. So let's not blame Cassie in this. Let's look at what we're talking about. Look at what we're doing here. We got our co-host, the G-Check in the building, Mr. A.B. Butler. We're about to take a break, Mr. A.B., and when we come back, we'll get into it. I just spent the first 15 minutes talking about Puffy in the trial, and I know that he's one of your people, so I'm glad you didn't have to endure everything that we talked about. But when we come back, we'll talk about the 7 inmates that escaped, and a lot more here on Millennium News 24 with your New American Perspective. I'm Jania Butler. That's AB Butler, and this is your G Check. I'll talk to you soon. And we are back. This is Jania Butler with your New American Perspective. That's AB Butler with the G Check. How are you, good fella? You there? He looks like he's stuck. Are you there? Are you there? He looks like he's stuck.
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, there he
I'm
goes.
here.
There he goes. We got movement. We got action, people.
We got movement.
How are you, good fella?
I'm coming along, right now, it's getting better every week, you know what I mean? The brain tumor is coming along, thanks to the Lord, pray the Lord, you know what I mean? Every day for a blessing to get up, get stronger and stronger and positive and positive,
we got to run our G Check on you. So let's just get right into it. Let's first talk about your guy, Tory Lanez. We talked about a couple weeks ago that he got stabbed 14 times in jail out in, where was you said, Bakersfield?
Bakersfield, California.
In California, federal prison, right? Is that federal?
I think it's federal or state. I don't know. Okay. They probably, they put them in all these little weird towns. Okay. Bakersfield, I've been there because my man used to live out there, and I went to a strip club out there, and everything was in there looked like a zombie.
What's that about? So it's a funny town, in other words, what you trying to say, funny looking town. So
it is.
We know that Tory Lanez is in the hospital for stabbed 14 times. He's made it out, but here's the interesting news now. So his ex-bodyguard has come to the forefront, the one that wouldn't testify during the case, and they said, oh, Tory Lanez popped out, and he said, oh, well, I got some new evidence that's probably going to let me go. Then he gets stabbed at, boom, 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 by a felon. Okay, so because what I want you to talk about, what I want you to G-check is when, somebody has life in prison plus life on top of that, and then they are set up to go hurt somebody because it doesn't matter. They're not coming home. So somebody stabbed him, a Mexican gang member stabbed him 14 times. That's been in violent crimes. Tell us about what that's like when you know that, you got people in jail with you that just don't care.
Well, let me say this. The feds, it had to be the state. I don't think it was this. The feds ain't going to put lifers in. How much time Tory Lanez had? 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years. Okay.
They're not going to mix them. So It must have been the state. But me personally, how I look at that, he's Tory Lanez. It could go 2 or 3 ways, you know what I mean? Because in jail, people, other inmates, other convicts, they sit around talking hate because they see the way he get mail, the way he get groceries, the way he stay to himself. That could play out because all what I just said become hate. Then it could come another way stating that, oh, somebody knows somebody on the outside sent the code and said, hit him. You know what I mean? So that could be that, and then straight up, you got life. So it don't matter. Only thing they're going to do is put you in a hole for like a couple of months and ship you to another jail where they is nothing but lifers. So right now, it don't matter to him because he's not seeing the streets. He don't care.
Mhm.
He ain't got nothing to lose. He don't mind. He in jail. It don't matter. You send me from one institution to another one and just put me in a hole for like 6 months or a year. It's nothing to them. You know what I mean? Because that's the name of the game. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, the way it looked like and the way it played out, it was a hit.
Mm.
Somebody heard something and they got it back to somebody that know a Mexican that, people that, oh, I got a little gang up there. He got life. Let me send a message to him. Yo, we gonna take care of your mother, your father, and then we're gonna give her this, make sure they live, whatever. And that's what happened.
So
That's a G check.
Yeah, that's a G check. And so that could very much be the one of the reasons why he got stabbed up. So now the security comes out, the driver comes out and says, I heard Kelsey, who was formerly Megan's friend, I heard her say that she shot Megan. But now here's the G check. Megan jumped right in now. Megan jumped right in. I'm sick of y'all. So she had a very yelling like tweet or something of that magnitude. She's put it somewhere on social media. I'm sick of y'all. Tory shot me, and that's it. Why didn't he come out with it? If he didn't shoot me, he had every right in the court of law to stand up and say that Kelsey shot me, and he didn't say that, and that's why he's doing the 10 years. Stop and leave me alone. So she is a very volatile young lady, and she's very explosive with her energy. And I just wonder, I question that energy, because it's like, what are you so? I mean, I get the fact that everybody has kind of said that you're a liar, you're not telling the truth, and so you start feeling some type of way about it.
Yeah.
He is wild for the night. There's a congresswoman out of Florida that's saying, let's review this trial and maybe even look into pardoning Tory Lanez. What say you, cuz?
First of all, he's a man. He didn't want to bring his friend, the other girl, down and let her do time. So he was a man. He stood up and said, yeah, okay, you said I shot you, you know what I mean? And that's what it is, but I'm going to prove in court that I didn't. But at the end of the day, the bodyguard had said he seen who shot her. But sometime, he felt that, nah, I ain't going to tell. But now his conscience bothering him because of the guy got stabbed 14 times. So basically, he come along after he is assuming that he knew what really happened. So in his mind, he looking at it, it's going to eat his conscience that he knew what really happened, but he didn't want to say nothing. So he really thought Tory Lanez got stabbed 14 times. He wasn't going to make it. So he got up and made a call and said, oh, it's like the principal. Oh, I know who looked up under your dress now.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, what's going to really happen? They're going to investigate that. And this is the same thing with rest in peace to our cousin Chris Lighty. You know what I mean? Nobody got tested in that house when he got shot.
That's right. That's right.
So that's the same thing with Tory Lanez. Nobody got tested in that car.
Well, he didn't have gun residue on him.
Yeah, he didn't. But you can't, if he didn't have it on, that means he did not shoot him. But the way the justice system is, the girl ain't no real rock star. The security ain't no real rock star. What it is been, let's break the Black community, hip hop, film, football, basketball. Let's keep bringing them down. So Tory Lanez and Megan was the eyes. The eyes was on them. So it wouldn't have been nothing if they would have brought homegirl down with like, oh, her friend, because she assumed that Tory Lane, it was like, whatever, it would have went and it would have went out. It's all about the paper, the
Well,
press.
let's talk about a couple theories, because I think that you're right. I think that Tory Lanez was protecting Kelsey and the girls in this thing, and he thought that justice would be served if he didn't say, Kelsey
Hmm.
had immunity. He didn't
Hmm.
say that she shot her, and he's thinking,
Hmm.
well, I didn't shoot her, so I'm not going to jail. And then
Yeah.
it turns around and they did a flim flam on him, and he's now serving 10 years and fighting for his life. But
Yeah.
now I see it as that. I see that very much so. Kelsey and Tory, I believe they both were, I mean, Kelsey and Megan, they were both messing with Tory. They probably didn't know. He probably felt bad that they found out. They got drunk and then they got into a heated argument. And Kelsey said, you know what? And knowing that he he caused some of that he wasn't going to say, well, now you're going to go to jail because I did this and I took y'all, and and so there was some valiant moves in that, if that was the case.
Hmm.
That's alleged, that's how I see it.
Hmm.
But there was some thoughts in that way, so maybe that's the case. And I just hope now that going forward that we will see, and I believe that we will see Tory come home before those 10 years, and that's a G check, because he stood his ground. He didn't,
He stood on his G. You know what I
he's,
mean? He stood on his G check. You know what I
yeah.
mean? He didn't run his mouth. He went, and you know what I mean? Even though he got a kid, his kid got to suffer, come and see his father inside the wall. But at the end of the day, it's like, most, you know what I mean? A big G chick to homeboy, because he stand on G. He stand on his G.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
And so, and much love to Corey and to Tory and the
So,
whole
yeah.
crew over there. And
Shout out
good luck to
Toronto.
you, buddy.
Yeah, he
And
gonna
so
get.
let's talk about, because last week we talked about um jail conditions. We were talking about Rikers Island and how they were
Mhm.
looking to close Rikers Island because
Mhm.
of the conditions on the island. So
Mhm.
let's shoot over to New Orleans, where
Mhm.
we're just right on the money, because in New Orleans, 10 inmates escaped out of New Orleans Parish Jail,
Mhm.
and 5 of them are still on the run. Now they've caught 5 of them. 3 of them were caught right away. The last 2, they were caught wandering, and there's 5 still on the loose. Now I figure that by Friday, they were going Friday morning, 1
Mhm.
a.m. They should be out of town, but
Mhm.
they are not out of town. And how they got out, this is the interesting part, ladies and gentlemen. How they got out is they got out through a bathroom. The toilet, they pulled the toilet off the wall,
Mhm.
okay, and got out the hole, and then they jumped walls, scaled fences, and hit the road, ran over highways. What do you think about this? What kind of G check is this, Cuzzo?
Listen. The biggest G check is, you got to remember, anything built is man made. You get where I'm coming from? Anything, it don't matter. It's a computer or anything. It's man made, put together. So at the end of the day, it's always something gonna go wrong. Just like if you got a Galaxy phone, we need to check for this. You got an Apple phone, we need to check for that. That was a plug. But it's got to be fixed. It's always gonna crack. So at the end of the day, any prison that you go to, you got a maintenance man, you got the cleanup man, you got the person. So you got to remember, it got to get fixed. They don't bring the people. That's why I say to the people, You know what I mean? Every prison you got is slavery, and the slavery is it's like when the masters own a yard, they got to clean the yard, they got to clean the house, you got to pick the cotton. It's always we know the routes.
Right.
So inside the prison, you know the routes. Something got to be fixed. So at the end of the day, you fix it and you see something. So he probably was in there fixing the toilet from inside the skeleton.
Mhm.
So he probably seen it like, oh shoot, it's close to the outside, talking to the inmates. Yeah, man, I went and fixed the bathroom and I can see the outside. So the dude probably said, yeah, got together with the other ones, like, yo, homeboy says a way we could get out of here. Yeah, they always say they always got the one thing in life, they always got to blame somebody.
Right.
So they always say it's an inside job. Yeah, it's always an inside
Well, we're
job.
going to come right back and we're going to talk more about it because it was
Mm,
an inside job. But we're going to
yeah.
talk about that inside job and
Mm.
how they pulled it off. And what I want you to think about is tell us about how inmates all day, every day is thinking about escaping. So we'll be right back on Millennium News 24 with the New American Perspective with your G-Check here, with Jania Butler and AB Butler over here. And we
Gee,
are
yeah.
going to bring it back into the fold. So we'll see you in a New American Minute.
Doom, 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 doom.
They don't like us to go anywhere. They're
Yeah, I
coming.
know that because we hot.
They're hot to trot.
Yeah. They must have forgot about our commercial. You know what I mean? They trying to,
They didn't
I
forget.
guess they trying to wait for Apple and
Everybody else
what's the
to
name
make it.
give us
And
that
if you
check for
want
the
to
plug.
advertise here on the New American Perspective, you are welcome. Tap into us: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We're live on YouTube. And
All type
everywhere
of
that you can find it. We're in the Sky Network, the Horizon Network, Amazon, Apple. We're on all networks going forward. So I don't know, because until they can cut in and give us a commercial, but we'll keep going because let's talk about
because we
let's
on fire. We on fire, cuz
we on
we
fire right now.
yeah.
So
JVAB.
let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about this, the fact that um that the five inmates that are still out now, they found a maintenance worker. Now he came forward, he said, listen, I turned off the water
Mm-hmm.
to the toilet and everything like that, and that's how they were able to pull it out. He said, but they were trying to extort me, and they said that they were going to get me if I didn't do this.
But
Right?
that's facts. That's a G check.
That's a G check. What?
Yeah,
Tell us
that's a
why.
G. That's a G check because if he the point person and we could get him, we gonna get him. So he had a choice to cut that water off or we coming at him. You know what I mean? Because you gotta remember, you're already scheming to get out. So you already know the rules. You get caught, this was gonna happen. They're gonna move you and put you in a high, give you probably a couple more years, escape charge. You know what I mean? So they're gonna put you in a security where, they're gonna make sure you don't have, but every joint is eligible to be escaped.
Right.
You know what I
So, but
mean?
we looked at if you ever seen the movie Life with Martin Lawrence um and Eddie Murphy,
But
they spent their whole journey, and I know that it's not a real
that's
case,
not a
but
life. That's
they
not a
spent
life
their
of prison.
whole journey trying to get out of jail. Tell us the real life. Do people scheme all day trying to figure out how they're going to get out if they can break out?
Yeah, but they do. But that's the Martin Lawrence show. That was a camp. That was a
Yeah.
camp. You get
Yeah,
where I'm
it
coming
was an
from?
old school, but I'm
Yeah,
just talking about their
that's like a
mentality that
yeah,
they
they
spent the
mentality,
whole
yeah,
time trying to
yeah,
break out. So
yeah.
is
But
that what
it's
most people
always
do?
yeah, because you gotta remember most people and we're gonna talk about prison, you know what I mean? Let me break it down to you, right?
Hmm.
Most if you go to most prison and do your survey, most dudes is in jail because behind a woman, trying to impress a woman. Second of all, when they get in there, most women, I give a woman to be loyal 3 days. After 3 days, it don't matter, you marry, you engage, or whatever. After 3 days, every woman got needs, just like a man. So it's like
3 days.
they always they always figuring out a way to see how they could get out because it's all about the women. They worrying about their women. They ain't worrying about their mother, their kids. They worrying about that woman. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So that's
So you
where
think these guys ran home to their woman and they
it,
didn't get out? Because I
it,
would assume, listen,
it,
I'm
it
heading for the border. If it's me, I'm heading for the border. I'm going
let me
back
let me
over. I'm
let
going
me
refugee. Give me my $1,000. I'm self-deporting. I'm out of here.
let me give a big G check. If you ever understand escape, that if you do ever decide to escape any prison, any what's your name, you got to say goodbye to your girl, your mother,
Right.
your kids, anybody is related to you because that's the first place they going. And that's why when dudes escape, when you escape and you plan to escape, you got to have the escape mentality. You can't go home. You can't go home. You know where I'm coming from? Because if you go home, they already know that's the first place you going is to your house.
Right.
And they gonna be right there. Most dudes escape, they going straight to their hood. No, you got to go the opposite where they don't know nobody that know you. You can't communicate with your girl no more and say, babe, I escaped. I'm here. They on the track. It's a track. They monetizing because that's why when you in the feds, I don't know how the state play, but they got it now. It's like every phone call you make and everybody that come and visit you, they in the tracking system.
Right.
They monetize everybody that you call, visit. That's why they tell you send a visiting form and put your name on the list to get on the phone because
Mm,
they tracking you. It don't matter you in or you out.
right.
They gonna track you down. So that's why the first 4 or 5 got caught. Cause what they did, they didn't have a escape plan where now I'm not going home. I'm not going to my hood. I'm not going this and that. I got to go run in the woods, run and do what I need to do to get out this country. But
Mm,
most dudes, they don't have that mindset because of this is the biggest G check. It's like when we out here doing wrong, doing the stick ups, doing the robberies, selling drugs, or doing whatever, we don't leave our community. We don't see other places. We go to Myrtle Beach, we go to LA, we go to Miami. No, go see these other countries, build relationships. You know what I mean? Learn how to go in the woods, stay 2 nights in the woods. Because if you're gonna do all the escaping, that's the way you got to go. You got to go underground. You can't go up top. These days they got cameras everywhere,
right.
face recognition. So
Yep.
you got to go underground. You can't go, oh, let me go on the streets. No, because it's going to spot you and say, here he go. He's over here. He's moving over here. Oh, he's over here. It don't matter because they're going to monetize everybody that you know, from your girlfriend friend, your auntie, your uncles, your nephews, the grave site, everything. They're gonna monetize everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a G
And
check.
that's a G check. And so,
Mhm.
so shout out to the 5 that are left out there that actually have a betting on who's going to get caught last. So you can actually now bet on, and that's going to take us to our next topic, but you can actually now bet on who's going to get caught last. And nobody believes that they can get away with this. I mean, the only thing they can do is head for that border. And New
Yeah,
Orleans is not too far out. So, I mean, you had almost 5 days now to get
yeah.
somewhere, and these guys are still getting caught in New Orleans.
We
Or
got. I
Louisiana,
would.
and you got to, you got to go hungry, you got to go starving, you got to walk through the swamps. Think about the migrants that came over here. You got to make
Yeah,
one of them runs if you're going to
yeah.
do this, because they're going to tack on. They said they're tacking on $100,000 and some more time. So,
Listen,
I hope
listen.
you just didn't do this for a couple days.
Cause on the remix, when we remix this right here, you got to put that joint on there. Run, Joe, run, Joe. I don't know where to go. Run,
Yeah,
Joe, run, Joe.
definitely.
Yeah,
We're going to give them some theme music and
yeah,
see where they're at. But let's
yeah.
talk about the NBA playoffs. Okay, so the NBA is in the semifinals to the playoffs. We got the East Conference Finals and the West Conference Finals. We got OKC and Minnesota, and then we got the New York Knicks. And here we go. We got the New York Knicks, and we matched the New York Knicks colors. Ain't that something?
Yeah,
We
you
got
know,
the
we
New
got
York
it
Knicks
down
and the
back.
Indiana Pacers. So New York is on fire right now for Knicks Nation. Shout out to the Knicks. Shout out to Karl Anthony Towns. Shout out to Ashton Burrell, a great friend of Karl Anthony Towns. And shout out to McKinney Campbell, also on the Knicks staff. And so what do you think going forward? Now, the reason why I said that we're going to talk about this as the next part is because I believe in heavy betting going on, and I believe that the NBA is now globetrotter basketball, and it's just not real. If you know that I'm a Hall of Fame basketball player,
Ooh,
diehard basketball player, 1,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, LIU, Brooklyn, D1, hold them records. Okay, and now I watch the game of
damn,
basketball. That's a G check.
G check.
But I watch the game of basketball now, and I watch it with a thin eye, because I think they're playing towards the point spreads, and I think they're playing a money game instead of a real basketball game. How do you feel about it?
Listen, we since we shouting all them out, we got to shout out Fat Joe and Jada new show. B, they
Okay,
went number
shout
one.
out, shout out,
And
shout
our
out, Joe
show
and
gonna go
Jada.
number two. You know what I mean? We gonna be number two. Joe, we coming behind you. You
Gonna
know what I
be
mean? The
number 2.
Butler
We
gang gang.
no number 2. We number 1. We on the TV. We number 1.
Yeah,
I ain't no number 2. Shout out to your show. But
yeah. He my cousin, boy. Got to love her. That's the
I'm a
Butler gang.
competitor.
Yeah. You the ball player. I'm the lover.
So, but let's talk about it. So, do you think that
At first, I
game
didn't think
fix?
because you said that the last time, and it
Mm-hmm.
played out just the way you said it. You said, "Cuz they not gonna win in Boston." I said, "Yeah, they gonna shut them down in Boston," and they did not win. Then when we came home, and it's only right to win in the Garden. It's only right. It's only right. But you hit a point, so it's a G check. You know what I mean? You said it. You called it. You
I just
know,
think,
you
how are these betting agencies, FanDuel, and all the betting people, and shout out to Let's Bet Maryland, Emmanuel Bailey, only black man in the business with
Yes.
a mobile betting app. Shout out to Emmanuel Bailey for that.
Yeah.
But I
You need to
just
get him on the
believe,
show.
yeah, no, we definitely, yeah, we're gonna talk. That's a good one because we're gonna definitely talk to him about that.
Yeah.
About, is this? I mean, you got Pete Rose. Okay, you remember Pete Rose on the
Yeah.
Philadelphia Phillies? He retired in shame because of because he was betting. He never bet against the Phillies, but he bet on games and they killed him. So you're telling me now that all these players in the NBA, the NFL, the hockey, and all these things that you could bet on, all these players are righteous? I mean, there was an NBA player that got kicked out of the NBA for betting against himself, but I just think that it's in there. Look, the tickets for the New York Knicks at this point are $900 to $55,000 to sit there and watch the Knicks play. $900 to $55,000 for a
But you know,
ticket.
but you know what it is, cuz this is a G check. That's no different than the airlines, the train stations, the hotels. Every time event go up, they shoot the price up.
Sure.
So you got to look at it. It's all a game. You know what I mean? It's all a money game because everything. Let it be a war show. You could get a hotel for 90 some dollars or $59, and the next thing you know, it's
Right.
500 a
Price
night.
gouging. Right.
So is we got to figure out a way how can we fix that, because when people just pick a flight last minute, then you can't, what I mean, a flight, a
Take
hotel
advantage of you.
is like, yeah, that's what it is. So that's part of the game. So it's like you got to remember, if it do for one, they do for all.
Okay, I'll go with it. And
That's
that's
a
a G
G
check.
check.
It's a G check. And so we're gonna try to take another break. We're gonna take a break here on Millennium News 24. We're gonna come back. We're gonna talk about our last big 15 minutes of
Ooh.
new American perspectives and G checks and everybody. And we'll be right back on the Millennium News 24 here with your host Jania Butler and
And
AV
AB
Butler.
brother.
Yeah, and AV Butler on the G Check and the New American Perspective. We'll be right back.
I think our man went to sleep.
No, he didn't. He's awake.
Nah, he sleep. He over there getting a foot massage.
All right. And well, I had put just let me do a little commercial really quick. I just did, and I want you to do it because I just did a show called Scars. Remember I was telling you about that a few months ago. I did a show called Scars, and I talked about all the scars that I went through.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a healing process to talk about my journey to who I am right now. And
I
so it
need to get
just
on there.
aired. So it's on YouTube. So if you get a chance, watch episode 13 of Scars by David Still. But I would love for you to get your episode in there too, because again, this was such a healing process. I talked about all the things that I went through growing up,
Yeah, definitely. I love to do 'em.
WNBA grievances, huh?
I love to do that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, it
Definitely.
was so good, and I really see this show taking it up another notch. But if you get a chance, go on to YouTube, pull up Jania Butler Scars, and if you want to know what's up with Jania, okay, and why she is who she is, the tough girl, that she has become. I haven't always been that tough girl, and you'll see in that episode of Stars. So I'll do that commercial. But shout out to Millennium News 24. I'm going to do that commercial. Shout out to, we're on Amazon Prime, Apple, YouTube, Sky Network, Horizon
All
Network,
platforms.
around the
All
world.
platforms. All.
Okay, we're talking, and we are broadcasting live. And thank you so much for joining us today. Those who are tuned in around the world, let us know where you're coming in from, and we'll continue to grow, and we want to know who you are. Tap in, ask questions. If you got questions for AB, he did a 30-year bid in jail, in prison, and so he knows so much, very knowledgeable, with himself. Came out, now he's been out 14, how much, 15,
I lost
15,
count.
15 plus years, no charges, no nothing, so we are on the way, and now we got this beautiful show, the G Check Around the World, and we want to talk about it. We want to talk about all of our experiences and things. So cuz did you hear what was happening with the WNBA?
Mm.
So Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, former college rivals, got together, in the WNBA launched last weekend. So former college rivals got together and they started fighting again. So Caitlin Clark is a white woman who she graduated with the most points in NCAA history. I think it was over 3,000 or 4,000 points. And Angel Reese, we've seen her, Miss Hottie everywhere. She's a power forward, and she used to play for LSU, and they had a rival. And so they played against Caitlin Clark is on the Fever, the Indiana Fever, and Angel Reese was on the Chicago Sky. Now, Caitlin Clark and the Fever beat them down, but not before Caitlin Clark grabbed Angel Reese in a flagrant foul, turned into a flagrant foul, a tech one, and Angel Reese was ready to fight. She was all turned up, behind it. And so now a lot of people are being very racist, and have been for a long time, against Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. So Caitlin, again, the white woman, the great white hope that's stepping up. She's already broken records, had the most triple doubles in WNBA history already. So I guess a lot of people weren't going after those, but she slammed on Angel Reese. Angel Reese got mad, and now Angel Reese, the WNBA is investigating as to where or what is happening behind Angel Reese, because she's getting a lot of hate mail and comments about her being a Black woman, and it's a racial divide, and they're acting. What I don't like about Caitlin Clark is when she made this foul, she knew what type of foul she was making, and I've seen it before. And when she made this foul, she said, "Oh, I didn't do anything." So now when Angel came running after her, right? She looked over her shoulder like, let me make sure this chick don't bash me in the head, because she knew what she did. And she was, she act like, oh, I'm walking away. She's all excited and walking away, but she pushed her down and everything. And then the white girl walked away like, oh, I didn't do anything. Yes, you did. You got a flagrant. And shout out to the refs in the WNBA for that. So Angel Reese, hold your head. Don't show too much energy behind it. Just go hard and win hard that way.
Me as a G Check with the female situations, it's always going to be that. It's always going to be that. You know what I mean? And for the sister, man, just punish her on the court. Every time you get a chance, just punish her. You know what I mean? It's like we got to learn. We understand the race, the scale. That's what I call the scale. They up here, we down here. So we got to realize sometimes we got to think and get the yes mans out your corners. And what you got to do is beat her down on the court. Punish her. If you know you can't touch her, you can't say nothing to her, because at the end of the day, forget hate mail. You got to remember, people got to stop worrying about what people feel about them on social media, sending this and that. Half of these people don't even know you. Half of them don't know you. That's a G check.
That's
So
a G check.
you can't really worry about what the machine, because it's all a machine, because you got to realize this. If they seen you face to face, they gonna be none but a groupie. Can I get a picture? But when they behind that keyboard, they John Gotti, Al Capone, they killers. So at the end of the day, how you shut a killer down? Put them in that jail, lock them down. But on that court, punish her. You know what I mean? You incredible. Treat it like white man can't jump.
That's a good one. So, in our last 5, let's talk about our guy, President Donald Trump, with himself. You know, we know that he's supposed to be taking a $400 million jet from Qatar. And a lot of people are saying, hey, don't take the jet, because Qatar plays both sides of the spectrum. They're, you know, they support Hamas, and then they come over and they support America. And President Trump, he is out there. He's saying, listen, I love it. He got the big head going on and everything like that. But most importantly, what most importantly, what he has going on is a tax cut bill that they're trying to pass. Now, we all want our taxes cut, but they're saying, who are the taxes really being cut for, right? So are the taxes being cut for the rich? Everybody hates the tax getting cut for the rich, but they're saying now what they want to do, what the GOP wants to do, is cut the taxes for the rich and cut Medicaid and everything else in between. But wait a minute, the GOP is saying we don't necessarily want to cut the Medicaid for Americans, and Trump is seconding that. Like, let's just be easy on the Medicaid cuts, but we want to cut Medicaid for the foreigners, and we talked about this before, that are coming in, the illegal immigrants that are coming in and using Medicaid to have babies on our soil and become American citizens and make a bigger problem. So this is what's on the table right now. We got Trump with the $400 million jet. We got the tax cuts coming up. We're waiting to see what's going to happen, and for them to come with a bill.
So let me say this: why we can't G check this, right? Trump, you running into Canada with the insurance, Medicaid, and all that. It's none of that. They get seen for free. You get where I'm coming from? So why we can't get that same? Since you love Canada, go sit down with the Canada president and ask him about the Medicaid, all that. They get that for free. Why we can't get checked up, get teeth, dental, whatever for free? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, they want to keep cutting, but raising. But America is starving right now. We're starving over here. We can't even take care of our bills because y'all want to keep raising everything. Look at New York. Look at what's her name? The governor.
Hochul.
You know what I mean? You want to put Justin prices up. You want to keep raising the tolls up. It's like I said the last time and over again. Y'all want to put bike lanes, make the streets smaller, and the cars can't come up this block because y'all put the walking lane, the bike lanes, and then you look at the bike lanes. People don't respect. You know what I mean? You got bikes out here worse than the taxis. You got and then you got it's so much. You like, okay, you want people to be healthy, but at the same time, you got people on these bikes and these scooters and these electric bikes coming across like, yo, they hitting people and don't obey the law. So you want to keep raising things before y'all do things. Look at it, because we sit back and say, yeah, we want this, we want the better health, but at the same time, they keep taking it and making it worse for the city, because the city Before y'all got in office, before y'all came into politics, New York been running like New York. We ain't had to be taxed. So basically, over the years, it seemed like the more greedy people is in politics, it's all about let's stick a needle in 'em and get all the blood we can out of them. Suck the blood out of them. Every time. It's like, and then when y'all suck the blood out of us, y'all don't even live in the city. Y'all got this, the government card. Y'all not getting taxes. Even crossing the bridge. Somebody work for the bridge. Y'all got an easy pass. Y'all don't have to pay. It's on the company. Why we got to always suffer the brown, the black, the whites? It ain't just us suffering. Everybody's suffering because the ones that got it, they don't have a problem. The ones that don't have them have the problems. So let's sit down with the real people who is not afraid to get in that meeting and speak their minds. You know what I mean? You get the people in there, is they the program, or you are sending some of your people in there to say, nah, we like this. No, let's get to the real ones, like myself, Jania, and other people like me gonna speak their mind and say what you doing to the city is you really extorting us, and that's a G check.
That's a
Think about it.
pure G check. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. The New American Perspective with the G check. You heard the ultimate AB G check this week. And America, stop eating your people. We will be back next week. It was great to be with you here on Millennium News 24. We will be back next week. The Knicks tonight. What is it? The Knicks in 6. That's where we going with. So the Knicks, whatever. But we'll be back next week and we'll give you the updates. It was great to see you. Have a great day.
Bro. You too.